Happy to be welcoming our next guest. He's a great friend of GMA, and for the past 2 decades, we've seen him on just about everything on TV, from shows like The West Wing, Parks and Rec, Brothers and Sisters, and currently 911 Lone Star.
And now he's launching a new podcast called Literally with Rob Lowe. And he's literally one of our favorite people. Good morning, Rob Lowe.
I got the dream team in front of me. I'm so happy to be with you guys.
Well, you know what's a dream is your new podcast, by the way. And we know, like the rest of us, you've been home quarantining with the family. I know your sons have been there at home with you as well. On social media, we saw at least one karaoke session. Did that happen quite a bit?
Well, thankfully for you, it does not. I mean, if you've seen the karaoke, we do. I think our name of our little fake family karaoke thing is better than our music. Our name is Quarantine. Get it? I think it's a cute name.
It definitely works. So tell us more about the podcast, what you're trying to do.
Well, listen. I'm learning from the best. So if I'm not a good interview, George, I blame you.
Okay, I'll take it.
But I've been doing this for so long, and I have such relationships throughout of interesting people that I've worked with, that I've come to know. And the podcast is really a way for the listener to pull up a chair and eavesdrop on conversations with people that no one else is going to have. Like, no one's going to talk to Gwyneth Paltrow the way I do. I've known her since she was 16 years old, when she was staying in the guest house with my wife and I while she was looking for an agent. My first guest is Chris Pratt. My wife Cheryl is the godmother to his wife, Katherine Schwarzenegger. So, and on and on and on. I had Magic Johnson on recently. You know, he and I survived the 80s together. So I just think it's a fun opportunity for me to talk, smack with people that no one's going to talk to these folks the way I do, and it's been a blast.
Yeah,
absolute blast.
It's kind of like you're hanging out with your friends. So we mentioned the name. It's called Literally, which was the catchphrase for your character on Parks and Rec. So how did you end up landing on Literally for the name of the podcast?
Well, because every article since I was a kid had the hacky headline, the lowdown. I was like, you know what? It's time for me to reclaim words, because words can only hurt when they're used against you. So I was going to use lowdown for myself finally, and then I couldn't afford the yacht rock song, The Lowdown by Boz Scaggs. Too expensive. So that title went away.
So Literally is one of those things that people come up to you on the street and yell at you, though, right?
Oh, yeah, literally. And then they do the double finger point. I took it as a sign of final success after 40 years of being in the business, that I finally had a catchphrase. You know, I mean,
what a network you've built up.
That was my highlight, my career highlight from Parks and Rec, was that I had that catchphrase.
What a network you've built up over those 40 years. You're talking about that a little bit before. And I read just the other day, you actually became friends with the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Yeah, so I got inducted into the Horatio Alger Society. And what the Horatio Alger Society does is it takes the best and brightest students across the country, 2 from each state, who have straight A GPAs, but come from families that make less than $20,000 a year and have really, really sad personal backgrounds that they've had to overcome, parents in prison, and the stories just curl your hair. And we, as an organization, send them to college. And it's a bipartisan group, but Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas put my medal over me when I was inducted in the Supreme Court. It's the only private service allowed in the Supreme Court. It was really, really an honor to be in that room and to be inducted and to do that kind of work. It's really cool. But yeah, that's like somebody people are like, wait, what? How are you? I didn't know that.
Rob Lowe, Clarence Thomas. Okay, there we go. You were here 9 years ago, and we asked you, would you want your sons to like follow in your footsteps? You said no. I would rather them be doctors or lawyers. Congratulations to your son Matthew, because he passed the bar exam. Congratulations to him. And your son John Owen, he's a writer on your show you're doing with Ryan Murphy, 911 Lone Star. So what is it like to have your son write your dialogue?
Well, it's great because I have somebody to blame that can't fire me. It's perfect. If you know, I don't like the words. You know, I think anybody who is fortunate enough to have their son or their daughter go into their family business and work with them knows how special that can be. And you know, Johnny originally got into Stanford because he was working in stem cell research in high school. And I thought I was going to have a son that was going to solve cancer. Instead, I have a son who's writing me jokes and things for my own television show. So, you know what? Who's to say which is better?
Okay, Rob, I got to ask you about an Instagram post. You did this hysterical photo of you, and you called it Rob Exotic. So any chances you've got, which I can't stop looking at it. It's the best thing ever. Any chances you've got a Tiger King project in the works?
That is a photo that you cannot unsee.
Yeah.
Once you see it, there's no crossing that Rubicon again. By the way, props to Cheryl Lowe for that makeup job. My wife, before she retired, was one of the great makeup artists in the business. It's how we met. And she's still got her game because she did some special magic on me. That's also the way I look when I get up 15 minutes earlier than this West Coast time.
Well, I tell you what, and before we...
But yeah, no,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Michael. Go for it. Go for it. By the way, can we just talk? Strahan, you're on my show. I did an episode with Michael, you guys, and you were so funny and so great. And how many times I've been on GMA, and I never got to ask you the number one thing I always wanted to ask you, which is, tell me who you hit the hardest in the NFL.
You did ask me that, and if you guys want to know, you got to watch the podcast. That's right. We're not giving it away, Rob. We're not giving it away.
No.
We have one more question before we let you go. Joel Schumacher passed away this week. We know you worked with him on St. Elmo Fire. Do you have any special memories that stand out about Mr. Schumacher?
I have so many. One is this jacket is in honor of Joel. He wore Levi jackets even when they weren't cool. He also I also did a social media post where a throwback where I was wearing two jackets, one on top of the other, and that was apparently cool in the 80s. I realized that was Joel Schumacher who made that come in. But my favorite Joel Schumacher story was I read that Minnie Driver posted this on social media, and I thought it was the perfect summation of Joel. Someone accused an actress in her acting style of being over the top. And Joel, without even looking up from the monitor where he was directing, said, "Oh, please, no one ever paid to see under the top."
That's perfect.
Spoken like Joel Schumacher. That is right. Well, he will be missed, Robin. We're so thankful you woke up 15 minutes, before you said you would look that other way like the Lion King. But thank you so much, man. We appreciate you, the Tiger King. The first episode of Rob Podcast, literally with Rob Lowe. I'm stuttering here because I'm so excited about this podcast. It's going to be available tomorrow wherever you get your podcast.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.